Hi there, this is Mark Richman again from Skeleton Key. I want to take you a little bit under the hood now into FMRPC and show you the differences between the buttons on the left, which run the commands natively, and the buttons on the right, which run the same commands but using FMRPC. And so I'm going to bring up dialogues here for the different scripts that are run off these buttons so you can just see the differences between them. If time permits, or in the next video, I will show you how you add FMRPC to a solution, which we've mentioned, I think, in the first video. It's really simple. It's copy and paste a table, copy and paste a couple scripts, and then you do what I'm going to do right here in front of you. So let's start by looking at the replace all versus the replace all using FMRPC. Now, of course, I'm using FileMaker Pro to show this because this is where you actually set these things up. You can use them and get the most benefit out of them using Go or mobile users using FileMaker Pro, but you have to do the programming, of course, like anything, using FileMaker Pro. So let's start by looking at the two scripts for replace all and replace all remotely. So I pointed out here the two script steps that really matter here. Those are the two here in the middle. The rest is just setting up, the capturing of the time, as well as putting the script name on the layout so you can know which button I clicked. Really what the replace all script does is it shows all the records in the working data table, and then it replaces one of the fields with a random value. And the only difference is on the FMRPC side is I'm calling the same script, but I'm telling FMRPC to perform script and run the replace all script. That's all it does. Runs the very same script, it just runs it from the server's context, where those variables don't mean anything to me, they mean something to the server. So that's why I get a different time. You'll notice that there's nothing in the FMRPC call here that has to do with any of that time stuff. So the value that's showing up down here on the right in the previous video is being generated by FMRPC itself and is handed back to me as the caller so that I can measure the differences in time. So if I'm comparing the before and after, I got to measure my own before, but FMRPC always tracks how long things take in milliseconds for you. Let's look at the next pair. I'm going to skip over the replace 125 because it's the same thing. Delete all and delete all. Delete all the records, 8,500 records. Takes a little while when I run it natively, even from FileMaker Pro on the same network. But if I set up a whole bunch more records, and then have FMRPC do it, it's already done. I could go back and make new records and do other stuff. This is that asynchronous example you might remember, the one where it performs a script, but it doesn't make the user wait. I can go back to work and make new records, and those records are unaffected by the call that was already taking place. So I'm going to go ahead and show you those two. They don't look much different, as you can imagine. Here's the delete all, show all records and delete all. And then here's the delete all remotely. Perform script FMRPC parameter, perform script no wait. And then it runs the delete all script. So it's pretty much the same call. The action is what's different. And again, the time that's generated by FMRPC is something that's built into the FMRPC script. It just comes back and you can just display it or manipulate it or do whatever you want to do with it. And let's look at the last example here, comparing import all to insert all. So remember, the difference here was that this is a native import, and this was actually a JDBC command performing insert, which is something you can't do with execute SQL as a function, and normally would require DSNs or a plugin, but now we're having FMRPC do it using JDBC. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the import all script, which is kind of what you'd expect, Go to the layout, set a path, import from that path. And I do that to make sure it's compatible with Pro and Go, and I'm not going to run into any weird path issues. But it's pretty straightforward stuff. And then I go in here and look at the insert all, and you can see I have an action called perform SQL. And if I look more closely at the parameter itself, it's perform SQL, and there's my insert statement. And you can see this is a command that you would normally have to use, like I said, a plugin, or you'd have to have a DSN or something to be able to do this. And now you actually get to do it just by putting it in here as the chunk of SQL text that you want FMRPC to execute for you. And so that's what lets me do something like, let's say, import all using native importing versus insert all using FMRPC. I can do that all day. And bang, they're gone. The last button on the right is the get stock quote button, and that is really just another perform script action calling a script that uses a plugin. So we'll save that for later because I want to spend more time looking at the different things you can do with plugins in another video. But for now, all you need to know is that there's three types of actions: perform script no wait, and perform SQL. And in all those cases, you hand off a parameter. In the case of the first two, the parameter is what script to call. The replace all calls the replace all script. The delete all calls the delete all script. The only difference here is this is a perform script no wait, so I'm able to go back and do things. So synchronous and asynchronous. And then finally, insert all, which is a very different kind of call. This is a perform SQL. So where here I'm using a regular script to do imports, here I'm actually telling the server to use JDBC to do an insert. You can just imagine the possibilities. Anyway, stick around for another video in the video series, and we'll talk about how to implement it. You pretty much saw the end result, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to copy-paste and start adding FMRPC to your solution. And then we'll get into plugins and installing and all kinds of other stuff in future videos. Oh, and by the way, we do have a seminar coming up on FileMaker Academy on June 6th, 2013. You can go to FileMakerAcademy.com and you can enroll or sign up to attend that seminar. And I'm going to be doing all this in depth with an opportunity for question and answer in that webinar as well. So hope you can come and join us. Thanks a lot.